our initial concern, there were two major things, right? One is who would have access to firearms. That was a major concern, and two was what training requirements would they have for carrying firearms on campus, and those were, and we actually expressed those concerns to the sponsors of the bill, and so the good news is clearly one of which they paid very close attention to, and that was notification to law enforcement of those who would be carrying. And so we were fortunate that they listened to us on that, and they included that in the bill, which is included in the law. That notification has to be made to local law enforcement so that we know who is carrying. And that's important to us because we want to be able to, one, identify who, where, and where they are on the campus, but also so that there isn't an incident where responding officers end up in some kind of gunfight with someone who, quite frankly, is an innocent. And so, one of the other things that we're working with the universities on is quite frankly some safe carry training. Basically, what we want to do is when they contact us to tell us that they're going to be carrying, we're going to offer them an opportunity to come to a safe carry class, safe campus carry, and working kind of early on what that is. But our early concepts are things like arm is really for a defensive position, not for an offensive position, so that when if there's a potential active shooter situation, that what we really want you to do is to protect yourself and others around you, rather than go seeking out that shooter, is to secure, as we talk about in the three ways of responding. In law enforcement, we talk about three ways you respond to active shooter incidents. Number one being flee. Number two being to hide. And number three being to fight. And so we're still going to continue to encourage that. And so what our thought is on this, though, is we'll do some training on those who have firearms, teaching them how to secure themselves and others, and then to take a defensive stance in case that the shooter comes toward them. Yeah. That's our preference with someone who will be carrying on campus, that they follow that guidance, and we want to provide that training to them, and also to make them aware of the laws in terms of their liability and responsibility of utilizing a firearm if they have to on campus, and also how to carry safely and smart. Yeah. Our preference has always been in the past that we not have to deal with this at all, and that has been a preference of law enforcement. Is that we not have to deal with this situation on our campuses. Again, we realized that this legislation was moving, and so it was one of those things where we worked with our campus law enforcement agencies on the state level with the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police. We worked with our campus law enforcement chiefs as well to talk about what we could come up with, because we realized this was going to happen. Yeah. And so we wanted to work with those sponsors to come up with something that at least we all could feel comfortable somewhat with if it was going to pass.
Are you comfortable with this, though?
Yeah, we're as comfortable as we can be. I mean, it's law, and so there's we have to accept it. It is the law that we're going to have to work with it, and so it is what it is. We understand that it's now the law of the land, and so we're going to the best thing we can do is work with those who choose that will choose to carry a firearm on campus, and we need to work with them to assure that it's safe carry.
You don't know, in a few seconds who's a good guy and who's a bad guy carrying a gun.
Right. That's and again, that's still a major concern for us. Is we don't want to hurt an innocent person. We don't want to hurt someone on campus that's not part of the issue. That's not the person that is carrying out some type of a shooting situation. And so it's still a concern, and that's why it's important. Again, that's why we're really pressing on the fact that we need to do training, that those who choose, now it's not required in law. And so what we're hoping is that those who choose to carry a firearm on campus will reach out to law enforcement not only to notify us. By law, they have to notify us. But what we hope they do is listen to us when we talk about providing some training to them so that, one, they understand our response, and two is they understand what to do when we respond. And that is to avoid this situation where someone gets shot that is an innocent.
Yeah. And is that your biggest concern here, is that someone might get shot that is an innocent bystander with a gun?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's always our major concern anytime firearms are involved is that someone gets hurt that is innocent.
Yeah.
It'll impact all of our major cities, but it'll also impact some of our smaller cities. I mean, if you think about places like Johnson City, Murfreesboro, Jackson, so it's not just the four major cities that will be impacted by this. It's going to be all of our cities that have a college or university in it, and that includes our community colleges, and so the impact is going to be much wider spread than just the major cities.
During that first minute, the 5 minutes before law enforcement shows up, couldn't
Right.
one of these people save lives, I guess? Be invaluable in slowing down the shooter?
Yeah, I think the key to that again is in a defensive position. It's a much different response when you're going on the offense as we do in law enforcement, as our military does. That training is much different than defending yourself, and handgun carry teaches you how to defend yourself. That's what our handgun carry courses teach people. So it's much different to be in a defensive position than in an offensive position. And so what we're, again, absolutely, if you're in a defensive position and an active person involved and engaged in shooting individuals, if you're present there and you're able to respond to that as a defensive position in your spot where you're at, right, then absolutely it can have an impact.
And just to be clear to, people out there, this does not include students. Students can't carry guns on campus.
No, this is just staff and the instructors. A handgun carry permit doesn't change. Just because this law was put into place doesn't change the handgun carry training that that everybody has gone through to receive the permit. It still remains the same. You're not law enforcement. You're not to go and take law into your hands. The idea continues. The reason for a handgun carry permit is to protect yourself and others around you, right? That's it. And it'll be the same with this in terms of those who are on campus.